This one habit decides your future. Most people ignore it. There are days when motivation disappears without warning. You wake up and the fire that pushed you yesterday is gone. The goal still exists. The dream is still alive. But the feeling to chase it has vanished. This is the moment where most people stop. Not because they can't continue, but because they don't feel like it. Feelings are powerful, but they are unreliable. They change with sleep, with weather, with moods, and with circumstances beyond your control. If success depended on feelings alone, very few people would ever reach anything meaningful. The truth is simple and uncomfortable. The work still needs to be done, whether you feel ready or not. Every successful person has faced this exact moment, not once, not twice, but hundreds of times. The difference is not talent or luck. The difference is the decision to move forward even when everything inside says to slow down or quit. Discipline begins where motivation ends. It shows up quietly, without excitement, without applause. It doesn't ask how you feel. It asks one question only: what needs to be done right now? On those hard days, the task doesn't change. The responsibility doesn't disappear. The goal doesn't shrink just because your energy is low. The only thing that changes is your willingness to act. Most people wait for inspiration. They wait for the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect burst of energy. But waiting creates delay, and delay slowly turns dreams into regrets. When you do what needs to be done despite not feeling like it, you build something far more valuable than results. You build self-trust. You prove to yourself that your word matters, that your commitments are real, and that your future is not controlled by temporary emotions. That single action, taken on a difficult day, carries more weight than 10 actions taken on easy days. Anyone can work when it feels good. Very few can work when it feels heavy. These are the moments that shape character. When no one is watching, when there is no reward in sight, when quitting would be easy and continuing feels hard. This is where discipline turns ordinary effort into extraordinary growth. Think about the goals you admire. The strong body, the successful business, the stable life, the inner confidence. None of these are built on motivation alone. They are built on repetition, commitment, and action taken during uncomfortable moments. Progress does not announce itself loudly. Often it whispers. It shows up as small, boring, repetitive actions that seem insignificant in the moment. But over time, these actions stack up and create momentum. When you skip the work because you don't feel like it, you are not just skipping a task. You are training yourself to quit. You are reinforcing the habit of letting emotions make decisions for you. But when you push through, even slowly, even imperfectly, you send a powerful message to your mind. You tell it that excuses are not in control. You tell it that you decide the direction, not your feelings. There will be days when showing up at 50% is all you have. That is enough. Discipline does not demand perfection. It demands presence. Showing up imperfectly is still showing up. The hardest part is always the beginning. Once you start, momentum begins to build. What felt impossible 5 minutes, ego often becomes manageable. Once action replaces hesitation. Discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It is about being honest. Honest about what you want, honest about what it takes, and honest about the cost of not acting. Every time you act without feeling like it, you strengthen a mental muscle. That muscle grows quietly, but it changes everything. It makes future challenges easier and future discipline more natural. Over time, something powerful happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking whether you feel like doing the work. You simply do it because that is who you have become. This identity shift is the real reward. Results will come. But the person you become along the way is what creates lasting success. A person who acts regardless of mood is unstoppable. Life will never be perfectly aligned. There will always be stress, fatigue, distractions, and doubt. Waiting for ideal conditions means waiting forever. The people who move ahead are not the most inspired. They are the most committed. They understand that progress belongs to those who act first and feel later. When you choose discipline over comfort, you choose freedom over regret. You choose growth over stagnation. You choose the future you want over the temporary relief of quitting. One day you will look back and realize that the moments you didn't feel like continuing were the moments that mattered most. They were the turning points, even if they didn't feel special at the time. Do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Not because it is easy, not because it feels good, but because your future depends on the choices you make today. This is how discipline is built. Quietly, repeatedly, one difficult decision at a time. Comfort is seductive. It whispers promises of rest, ease, and relief in the present moment. It tells you that you deserve a break, that tomorrow will be a better day to start. that there is no harm in choosing the easy path just this once. And in the short term, comfort delivers exactly what it promises. But comfort always sends the bill later. What feels harmless today slowly compounds into limitation tomorrow. The extra rest turns into lost momentum. The skipped effort turns into delayed progress. Over time, comfort doesn't relax you, it controls you. Long-term control is built on short-term sacrifice. This truth is not exciting, and it is not popular, but it is unshakable. Every meaningful improvement in life demands that you give up something now to gain something greater later. Most people misunderstand sacrifice. They imagine suffering, punishment, or extreme denial. In reality, sacrifice is simply choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is the quiet decision to delay gratification in exchange for freedom. Think about financial freedom. It doesn't come from spending whatever feels good in the moment. It comes from saying no to impulse, no to unnecessary comfort, and yes to planning, saving, and patience. The sacrifice is temporary. The control lasts. The same rule applies to your body. Comfort chooses the couch. Discipline chooses movement. Comfort avoids discomfort. Discipline leans into it, knowing that strength, health, and confidence are built through resistance. Every time you avoid discomfort, you teach yourself that comfort is your priority. And when comfort becomes the priority, growth becomes optional. This is how people slowly give up control without realizing it. Long-term control means owning your time, your energy, and your decisions. It means your life is guided by intention, not impulse. But intention requires effort, and effort is rarely comfortable in the moment. The path of comfort is wide and crowded. It is filled with distractions, excuses, and temporary pleasures. The path of sacrifice is narrow and often lonely, but it leads somewhere real. There will be moments when sacrificing comfort feels unfair, when others seem to enjoy life while you are grinding, saving, training, or learning. In those moments, it is easy to question whether the sacrifice is worth it. What you don't see is the future. You don't see the stress you are avoiding, the limitations you are escaping, or the freedom you are quietly building. Long-term control is invisible while it is being created. Short-term comfort gives you relief. Long-term control gives you options. Relief fades quickly. Options change your life. When you choose comfort, you are often reacting. When you choose sacrifice, you are deciding. Reaction hands power to circumstances. Decision takes power back. Control is not about domination or rigidity. It is about stability. It is about not being at the mercy of emotions, cravings, or external pressure. That stability is earned through repeated, uncomfortable choices. Every small sacrifice compounds. Waking up earlier, turning down distractions, saying no when it would be easier to say yes. These moments seem minor, but they stack into something powerful. People who live with long-term control are not lucky. They are intentional. They paid a price up front so they wouldn't have to keep paying forever. Comfort keeps you dependent. It makes you rely on external ease to feel okay. Sacrifice builds independence. It teaches you that you can handle discomfort and still move forward. This is where confidence is born. Not from praise or success, but from knowing you can do hard things without breaking. That confidence cannot be bought. It must be earned. There will be days when comfort calls loudly, when the sacrifice feels heavy and the reward feels distant. On those days, remember that comfort is temporary, but control shapes your future. Long-term control allows you to choose your pace, your priorities, and your direction. Without it, life chooses for you. The irony is that sacrifice eventually creates comfort of a higher level. Not the fragile comfort that disappears under pressure, but the deep comfort of security, capability, and self-respect. What you give up now is not lost. It is transformed. It becomes strength, clarity, and freedom later. People often say they want freedom, but few are willing to pay its price. Freedom demands discipline before it delivers ease. Sacrificing short-term comfort is not about living a miserable life. It is about building a life where comfort is earned, not borrowed from the future. When you consistently choose long-term control over short-term comfort, you stop drifting. You start steering. And a life that is steered with intention always travels farther than one that drifts with ease. In the end, the question is simple. Will you be controlled by what feels good now, or empowered by what serves you later? Rule 3. Control your time before it controls you. Time is the only resource that treats everyone equally, yet rewards only those who respect it. Every day arrives with the same 24 hours, and every day ends with those hours gone forever. The difference between progress and regret is not how much time you have, but how you control it. Most people don't lose time all at once. They lose it quietly. A few minutes here, an hour there, distractions that feel harmless in the moment. By the end of the day, the time is gone, and so is the opportunity it carried. When you don't control your time, it controls you. Your schedule becomes a reaction to notifications, demands, and other people's priorities. Instead of moving toward your goals, you spend your days responding to whatever is loudest. Control begins with awareness. You cannot manage what you refuse to notice. Many people believe they are busy, but busyness is not the same as productivity. Being busy often means your time is scattered, not directed. Time management is not about doing more things. It is about doing the right things. It is about choosing actions that move your life forward, instead of filling your day with activity that leads nowhere. Every goal you have requires time. Learning, building, improving, healing, creating. None of these happen instantly. When you fail to protect your time, you slowly starve your goals. Distractions are not accidental. They are designed to steal your attention. If you don't set boundaries, your focus will be rented out to anything that asks for it. Controlling your time means deciding in advance what deserves your energy. It means planning your day before the world plans it for you. Without a plan, you are always late to your own life. Structure is not a prison. It is freedom with direction. When your time has structure, your mind has space. You stop carrying mental clutter because your priorities are already decided. Procrastination often disguises itself as waiting for the right moment. In reality, it is fear wearing a familiar mask. Time slips away while you wait, and fear grows stronger with every delay. Small decisions shape your relationship with time. Waking up when the alarm rings, starting the task instead of thinking about it, ending distractions when they have overstayed their welcome. When you respect your time, others begin to respect it too. Boundaries teach people how to treat your hours, your energy, and your attention. A life without time control feels rushed and heavy. A life with time control feels intentional and steady. The difference is not pressure, but clarity. You don't need more time. You need fewer leaks. Time leaks through unnecessary scrolling, pointless conversations, and unplanned days. Plug those leaks and your life changes. Time control requires saying no. No to distractions. No to commitments that don't align with your goals. No to the idea that everything deserves your attention. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you say no to something that matters. Time forces you to choose whether you do it consciously or not. The future you want is built in small focused blocks of time, not in dramatic overnight changes, but in consistent daily use of your hours. When you control your time, stress decreases. You are no longer chasing deadlines or reacting in panic. You move with purpose instead of urgency. Time discipline is self-respect in action. It is acknowledging that your life is valuable and your goals are worth protecting. There will be days when your plan breaks. That is not failure. Control is not rigidity. It is adjustment without chaos. The people who achieve lasting success are not the most talented. They are the most intentional with their time. They treat time as an investment, not an expense. Every day is a fresh account, credited with 24 hours. How you spend it determines the balance of your future. If you allow time to drift, your life drifts with it. Direction requires decision, and decision requires control. When you take ownership of your time, you take ownership of your life. You stop living in reaction mode and start living by design. Control your time before it controls you, because once time is gone, no amount of regret can bring it back. Rule 4. Keep promises to yourself at all costs. The most important promises you will ever make are not the ones spoken out loud to others. They are the quiet promises you make to yourself in moments of clarity. Promises about who you want to become, what you will change, and how you will show up when life gets difficult. Every time you break a promise to yourself, something invisible is damaged. It is not dramatic, and it does not happen all at once, but it is real. Self-trust erodes slowly, like a foundation cracked by small, repeated fractures. People often talk about confidence as if it comes from success or praise. In truth, confidence is built privately. It is built when you do what you said you would do, especially when no one is watching. Keeping promises to yourself is an act of self-respect. It sends a message that your goals matter, that your word has weight, and that you are someone who can be relied upon. When you lie to yourself, even in small ways, you train your mind to doubt you. You begin to hesitate when setting goals because experience has taught you that your promises are optional. This is why so many people struggle with consistency. They don't lack motivation. They lack trust in themselves. They have broken too many small promises and now expect themselves to fail. Rebuilding self-trust starts with commitment to follow through. Not on massive goals, but on manageable ones. Promises that stretch you without overwhelming you. When you say you will wake up early and you do, you strengthen your identity. When you say you will work out, study, practice, or create, and you follow through, you reinforce belief in yourself. Every kept promise is a vote for the person you want to become. Every broken one is a vote against that identity. The world will break enough promises to you. Opportunities will fall through. People will disappoint you. The one place where trust must remain intact is within yourself. Keeping promises to yourself is not about perfection. You will stumble. You will have difficult days. What matters is honesty. If you fall short, acknowledge it and recommit immediately. Excuses are dangerous because they sound reasonable. They make failure feel justified. But every excuse teaches your mind that comfort is more important than integrity. Integrity is not just how you treat others. It is how you treat yourself when it would be easier to look away. When you stop breaking promises to yourself, your inner dialogue changes. Doubt is replaced with calm confidence. Anxiety fades because you know you will handle what you commit to. This inner stability spills into every area of life. Relationships improve because you show up more fully. Work improves because you follow through. Goals become achievable because you no longer sabotage them. Self-discipline becomes easier when self-trust is strong. You don't need to argue with yourself. You already know the outcome because you have proven it repeatedly. There is power in keeping even the smallest promise. Drinking the water you said you would, finishing the task you planned, taking the step you committed to. Small promises kept daily create massive belief over time. That belief becomes confidence, and confidence becomes action. When challenges come, and they will, self-trust is what keeps you moving. Not motivation, not inspiration, trust. You stop needing external validation. You stop chasing approval. You already know who you are because your actions have shown you. The person who keeps promises to themselves walks differently. They speak with certainty. They move with purpose. They are not louder, just steadier. At all costs does not mean punishment or cruelty. It means prioritization. It means choosing integrity over comfort when the two collide. Your future self is listening to the promises you make today. Every kept promise is a gift to that future version of you. If you want to change your life, start here. Make fewer promises. Make them realistic. And then keep them, no matter how small. Because when you can trust yourself, everything else becomes possible. Rule 5. Become consistent, not perfect. Perfection is an illusion that stops more progress than failure ever could. It convinces people to wait, to polish, to hesitate, and to delay action until everything feels flawless. In that waiting, momentum dies before it ever has a chance to begin. Consistency, on the other hand, is quiet and unimpressive at first. It doesn't demand brilliance. It only asks that you show up again and again, even when the effort feels ordinary or incomplete. Most people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they try to be perfect from the start. They quit after the first mistake, the first setback, or the first moment of embarrassment. Perfection focuses on outcomes. Consistency focuses on process. One obsesses over the finish line. The other commits to the next step. When you aim for perfection, mistakes feel like proof that you are not good enough. When you aim for consistency, mistakes become part of the path forward. Every skill you admire was built through repetition, not flawlessness. Progress happens because someone was willing to be bad at something long enough to become good at it. Consistency removes pressure. You don't have to win every day. You only have to return. That return is what compounds into growth. People often underestimate what small actions can do when repeated over time. A little effort, done daily, reshapes habits, identity, and results. Perfection creates fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of failure. Fear of starting over. Consistency dissolves fear by normalizing effort. When you show up consistently, your confidence grows naturally. Not because you are perfect, but because you are reliable. There will be days when your performance is average. Days when it feels slow. Days when progress is invisible. Consistency teaches you to move forward anyway. This is how momentum is built. Not through bursts of intensity, but through steady commitment. Consistency allows room for life. You don't need ideal conditions. You adapt, adjust, and continue. Perfection demands control. Consistency embraces reality. Reality is messy, unpredictable, and imperfect. The people who achieve lasting success are not the ones who never fail. They are the ones who never stop returning to the work. Missing a day does not erase progress. Quitting does. Consistency understands the difference. When you commit to consistency, you forgive yourself faster. You correct course instead of giving up. This mindset transforms discipline from punishment into practice. It becomes something you do, not something you suffer through. Over time, consistency shapes identity. You no longer try to be disciplined. You simply are. Results become inevitable because effort is no longer negotiable. It is part of who you are. Consistency builds trust with yourself. Every return strengthens belief in your ability to follow through. Perfection isolates. Consistency connects. It keeps you in motion, in learning, in growth. When progress is slow, consistency keeps hope alive. When progress is fast, consistency keeps ego in check. The world rewards those who stay in the game longer than others are willing to. Consistency outlasts motivation. It outworks talent. It survives failure. In the end, perfection is fragile. One mistake can shatter it. Consistency is resilient. It bends, adjusts, and continues. If you want real change, stop trying to be perfect. Start trying to be consistent. Because consistency is not about doing everything right. It is about refusing to stop.